Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. This lecture we're going to talk about securing your load balancer using perfect forward secrecy. Now, it used to be probably up until about 2014, your Elastic Load Balancer didn't have the ability to have perfect forward secrecy. And let's go ahead and examine exactly what that is. If you type in perfect forward secrecy into Google and have a look at the Wikipedia article, honestly, it is one of the best descriptions that describes it. And basically, it's a property of secure communication protocols in which compromises of long-term keys do not compromise past session keys. So what used to happen is if somebody basically got a hold of a key and they were recording all of your traffic, let's say everything that to and from a load balancer was recorded, all of that, all those packets were recorded, you could actually take the compromised key and you could basically go in and decrypt the traffic to and from those 2 points. Now, with perfect forward secrecy, it means that even if a key is compromised, a year in the future or whatever, they won't be able to go back and be able to read that traffic or decrypt that traffic. And Wikipedia gives an example here. So you've got Alice and Bob. They each generate a pair of long-term asymmetric public keys and private keys. So you've got your public key and your private key. And then they go ahead and they use a key exchange algorithm such as Diffie-Hellman. Diffie-Hellman's actually really fascinating if you want to go ahead and read that. They give this example here of paint, and basically you have this common paint, so let's say it's yellow, and you share it in the clear. You then add your secret colors, so Bob has a secret color and Alice has a secret color. That will then produce a new color. And then Bob can basically take Alice's, color, and Alice can take Bob's color, and then basically go through and add another secret color, and then they'll come up with a common secret. Now, if that doesn't make a lot of sense to you, honestly, go through and read the Wikipedia article. It does take some time to get your head around it. But essentially what you're trying to do with your load balancers is you just want to ensure that if your private key is compromised in the future, somebody goes and finds that private key, and they've recorded all the traffic to and from the load balancer, that they won't be able to use that private key to go in and decrypt that traffic later on in the future. Okay, so you might be wondering, well, what does any of this have to do with AWS and with the security specialty exam? Well, of course, you will be asked, questions around securing your Elastic or application load balancers. So if we go into load balancers, let's just have a quick look. I know we did cover it off in the last lesson, but if we go in here and we have a look at the application load balancer, we'll go ahead and hit create. In here, I'm just going to give it a random name. And here are our listeners. So look carefully. The ports are HTTP, which is on port 80. You go to add a listener. You choose your protocol. If it's HTTPS, it's always going to be on port 443. Again, that is critical to remember to the exam. Don't let them try and confuse you with port numbers or trick you. 443 is the port that HTTPS listens on. So remember that. I know most people know this by default, but there can be some tricky scenario-based questions in the exam, and they'll try and confuse you on what HTTPS is listened on. Just remember it's always on port 443. Let's go down, add all our availability zones, and let's go to our security groups. In here, it's pre-populating our certified cloud practitioner.com SSL certificate. In here, we've got our security policy, and we glossed over this in the last one because I wanted to save it for this lecture. We have a whole bunch of different security policies available to us. Now, if you go over to the AWS documentation, HTTPS listeners for your application load balancers, and you scroll all the way down, you can see your different security policies. And what you want it to enable perfect forward secrecy is you're always going to need this. You're going to need the ECDHE cipher enabled on the load balancer. And you've got all these different types of security policies. So 2016-08, you've got TLS 111, 2017-01, TLS 12, 2017-01, et cetera, et cetera. And you can see all the different protocols that are enabled on it, all the different ciphers that are enabled on these policies. To be honest, you probably want to just go with 2016-08. The reason being is it supports pretty much everything apart from DES CBC3 SHA. That's only supported by this policy. Don't worry, you don't need to know that going into your exam, but what you do need to know is that if you go and add this 2016-08 security policy, you've got ECDHE on your application load balancers, on your network load balancers, whatever, and that is going to enable perfect forward secrecy on your application load balancers. So that is it. Remember that two things, that you just want the 2016-08 security policy, and always remember that SSL is on port 443. So that is it for this lecture, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, feel free to move on to the next lecture. Thank you.